how we do our par levels. So this is probably the most important thing to do in regards to setting up your purchasing, because this will then prompt you as to what you require when you place your orders, and it can even actually tell you exactly what you need based on your par levels, which is going to simplify your job a little bit more. So we'll get straight into it. All we need to do is click on the purchase tab. Takes a little bit to load. Once we're in the purchase tab, we can go down. So we've obviously done the purchase orders. We can go down to par levels. So in the par levels, we can actually set up what we should have on hand. So again, this is all dummy data. But for example, buffalo sauce. So we know that we're going to sell 5 a week, but we're ordering on Wednesday and Friday. So therefore we'd say, okay, we need to make sure that at all times we have 2 of those. Now you can see that we have 8. So having those 2, it won't tell us that we need to order until those 8 are gone. The same as if we go down here, we'll go to another page, we'll look at barbecue sauce, for example. So we know that we're probably going through 3 of those a week. So we put in that we need 3 because we're ordering that from Fish Boys. And you can see here that now we're under that 3, it's going to prompt us that we probably should order some more. So by setting those par levels, when we go into the purchase orders, it will actually tell you what you should have on hand. So it says it here, par 2 on the buffalo sauce. So you can obviously then see, this is what I need to have. This is what I have in stock. I've got 8. I need 2. I don't need to order that product. Very simple, but very, very important to make sure that we go through. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be working on is how to do a stock count. Now to do a stock count, you'll see here on the home page, we'll have the home option. Some of you might have different options, but the thing we're focusing on here is the inventory tab. And we click on the inventory tab and it'll open it up and it'll tell us what information we currently have on hand. Obviously this is all dummy data, but it will show you the information that you require for that month. But to do a stock count, all we do is we click on stock counts and then we hit new stock count. Now, before we go through that, there'll also be, if we have had a previous stock count, they will be listed there. Now, we have 2 options here. We can count by product tag, which in that case, we can then count specifically the items. So, for example, a meat item or a sauce item, making it easier to be able to find them when you're doing a count. Or, in this case, we're going to click and count all products. So, we start the stock count. Now, very simply, we go and count every single item. We just press the plus or the minus. Now, we can do this on an iPad or a mobile phone. So we're going to do 2 here, 2 here. We'll go to the next item. We'll put 1 of those, and we'll put 4 here. So then we can click Review Stock Count. Once we hit Review Stock Count, it'll obviously tell us the items that we've counted. We hit Review Stock Count. And now we can see the information. So if there's any variances, what the total cost was, and the stock value. Very important, if we've made a mistake, we can click on the recount button, and then we can recount that stock if we've made a mistake in submission. Now, before we present the stock count, what we need to make sure is that we put in the date that we've counted that stock. So it's easier to reconcile at a later date. So in this case, it will be Friday, the 12th of February, and we're going to submit that stock count now. It'll ask us a few questions and make sure that obviously if we do make a mistake that it can affect our stock, but we're going to submit this one. Now we've submitted our stock count. Very easy. You can see the person that submitted it, the counted value, and if there was any variances in the current stock, which for this case there will be, because we've obviously just created a dummy account. So again, we're going to go through and we're going to do a purchase this time. So we click on the purchase menu, same as before, and the purchase screen will open up. So we want to create a new purchase order. So if we click on new purchase order, you'll see all of our suppliers will be there. Now this is pretty much all the suppliers that we use. There may be from time to time 1 or 2 that we put in there in regards to our specials, but this is pretty standard. So you can see here we've got Fish Boy, Wahlburger, Coles, Woolworths and Aldi. Now, very, very important to mention Coles, Woolworths and Aldi. So even though we can't place an order with Coles, Woolworths or Aldi directly, we still put an order in the system that creates a shopping list. And then when we go and purchase that shopping list, we receive that order. And that means that we can then obviously update our stock levels, which is obviously the point of this whole process. So we're going to go into Worldburger. Now in Worldburger, you can see quite easily we have a feature up the top here called recommended order. Now I'll go through that in the next video, but very important to note that's exactly where it is. In this process, we're not going to use that. We're going to move on to just purchasing manually. So you can see here quite simply what we have in stock versus what we should have based on the par levels that we entered in the previous video. So if we go here and we can see, okay, we have 8 in stock. We should only have 2. We don't need to order buffalo sauce. We've got 9. We should have 2. We don't need to order that either. So if we scroll down a little bit further, we can see, oh, tahini sauce. We're probably going to need to order that on the next run, but in this case, we're good. And then if we go down here, for example, burger buns, well, hang on, we're negative 14. So we need to order some burger buns. Now it's only Monday, so we're not going to order a huge amount. I know it says 300, but let's say we're going to order 250 and we hit enter. You can see here that it populates on the other side quite easily. We can click on that and we can easily change it. So look, you know what? We've been suggested, let's not do 250. We'll change that to 200. Straight away, it changes as soon as I hit apply. And you can see that automatically your shopping list has been created. Now, in regards to chicken, so if we have a look at chicken, for example, chicken thigh, we can see that we have 13 in stock. We only need 4. So we're good. This is going to be a nice cheap order, just a bun order for today. So then all we need to do is click on review order and it becomes a draft. Now, once we're happy with that, we don't need to make any changes. Again, to change orders, very, very simple. We can go through and obviously go back and change it. We hit place order. So we've got an option here. So we're going to purchase it from Worldburger, which is great. It's going to send an email to our operations team, which at this stage is Millsy. It's come from myself. Now, I also want to CC in someone else there. So let's say I email in patrick@world-burger.co. So again, if you wanted to BCC in the owner and you're the store manager, quite easily do a CCC or a BC. So everybody's aware of what's going on. So then we click on send email, order's been sent. As you can see, it says placed. Now that order is then directly sent to the operations team. They will pack that order for you and have it sent out on the next delivery date. Now that we've received the order, so we're going to assume that we've received the order. When the order comes in, so the delivery's arrived, we can then come back to this screen. So again, we've got placed at the moment. We click on the order and we hit start receiving. So we've just received those buns, but hang on a second. The warehouse has only sent us 150 because they had a problem with the supply. So we change that to 150 and we hit apply. Bang, it's changed exactly to 150. So we now know exactly what we've received. And you can see up the top now, it's been delivered. So all we need to do is click receive order. Before we do that, we should go over this little attachment here. If there are any issues with stock, if there's a problem with obviously stock, but the burgers being flattened or the chicken not being correct, those sort of things, we can add an attachment in here, add a PDF, and then send that back to the operations team and say, hey guys, look, there's a problem with this. Can we send that back and we'll reissue another one? Very, very simple and easy, but a great way to communicate with the operations team without really having too much interaction. But we're happy with the order. We've got our 150 burger buns and we're going to receive that order. Now, as soon as we hit received, you can see now it's changed to received. And if we go back here, it's a received order. So that's now populated the 150 buns onto our system. So if I went back to my stock, you would see now instead of being negative 14, it would have added another 150 buns. That is how we do our orders. Okay, so to edit an order once the order's been entered in, as you can see, we've got an Americano, a regular fries, a Coke, and a cheeseburger spring roll there. If we wanted to edit the Americano, we can just click on it. We can then change the quantity. In this case, we're going to change to 2. And then we can also change the options. So we've got the ability, we're in this case going to remove the mustard, and we're going to hit save. And as you can see, it's now been removed. We're going to go back to what we were talking about before, and that is the recommended order. So you can see quite quickly, there's the received order that we've already achieved. So we're going to place another order. We click on new order, and again, we're going to go into World Burger. And this time, we're going to click on the recommended order. Now, what this does is it looks at the par levels versus what we currently have on stock and tells us, look, I think this is what you're going to need. So we click on recommended order, and you'll see straight away, it automatically will tell me what I'm missing based on my par levels. So as we can see in the last video, we had a negative 14. We've added 150. So, but our par level is 300. So it's saying, hang on, you need another 164 buns. Perfect. We've put in there that we needed 10 banana purees. We've got 7, so it's telling us you need another 3. And again, 1 kilo bag of sauce, we need 4 of those. So very simply, if we need to change anything again, we can quite easily do that. We just see the par level's 10. We obviously only have 6 on stock, so therefore we're going to need another 4. But hey, that's a bit too much. We'll drop that down to 2. Perfect, and you can see that's changed for you as well. So once we're happy with that order and we look at that and we go, look, you know, I probably don't need 7 sausage patties, so we might change that down to 4 or 3. And then we can see everything. So if we click on review order, that's now obviously a draft, and we place that order. So we go through the same process. If we need to add a CC in, we can, and we send that email off. Now that order's been placed. Again, we go into the start receiving process. We receive that order. Oh, hang on a second. We've only got 1 banana puree, not 3, so we'll apply that. Burger buns, they didn't send us 160, they only sent us 100, sorry, they didn't send 164, they've only sent 160, so we'll change that. And perfect, that's the order that we need, so we've now had that delivered, we're going to receive it. Now it's been received, again, if we had any issues with the burger buns, or let's say that the patties weren't correct, we can add a PDF or an image to that to say, hey, these need to be replaced, and then obviously the warehouse manager can manage it for you. That's it, guys. That's been received. So if we go back here, we've got our 2 completed received orders. They were placed on the 5th, delivered on the 5th, and obviously then received at the same time. Very simple. And that's how we've used the purchase structure.